What up, Commanders? I'm the Roleplay Gamer, and I like to party. Welcome to another ship build. Today we're having a look at Slave 1, and I do not mind admitting that this thing was tricky. I'm still not 100% satisfied with the build I've put together here, but I really do think it's the best I'm going to get. I will be interested to see what your opinion is, what you would change, what ship you would use. So the problem with Slave 1 is it's armed to the fucking teeth like you wouldn't believe. I didn't even realize. Jango Fett's configuration of Slave 1 has 2 twin blaster cannons, 2 rapid-fire laser cannons, at least 1 torpedo tube that we've seen in the movies, but the wiki actually lists 2, and a mine layer. This makes it really tricky to stuff into a small ship in Elite Dangerous. I was actually tempted to go with the Asp Explorer on this one, just to fit all these weapons into the build, you know? But in my opinion, the Asp is just too big to be Slave 1. If anything, the Asp is probably more like the Millennium Falcon. So if we just back up a little bit, my first thought was the Vulture. In my opinion, the Vulture has the spirit of Slave 1, you know? It packs a lot of punch, it's maneuverable, it's small but bulky, you know? But it just hasn't got enough hard points. So I feel like if you wanna be Boba Fett or Jango Fett, and you want to do the bounty hunting and whatnot, we all know the Vulture is the ticket. But if we're going to be a little bit more literal here, then I thought maybe the Diamondback Scout, and it almost worked. You know, I thought, you know, again, it's small, but it's maneuverable and whatnot. That's sort of a small, bulky look that Slave 1 has. But we're missing a hard point there. It's only got 4. So as much as I didn't want to have to take it here, I did go with a Cobra Mark 4. Just because it's got the hard points and it's not too big a ship. So on that note, I will extend a shout out to Scott Lackenby, who absolutely called it the Cobra Mark IV. And now on with the build. Starting with core internals, we've got a 4B power plant. Now for those who don't know, the B-rated gear actually has the highest integrity. It's effectively slightly armored. So I only had the option of a 4B power plant or a 4A power plant to actually get this thing running with everything online at once, and I figured why not sacrifice the tiniest amount of boost speed for the sake of a little bit of armor on our power plant. It seemed appropriate for a bounty hunting ship. Next we've got 4A thrusters naturally and a 4A frameshift drive. We've got a 3D life support system, you know, to pull that weight down just a little bit, and a 3A power distributor, which is essential considering how many guns and shit and the fact that we probably want to boost a lot as well, right? And to finish it up, we've got 3D sensors. Moving on to optional internals now. We have 3 times 4E cargo racks. That's 16 tons a piece. We've got a 4C bi-weave shield generator, and that's just because I'm liking the concept of the bi-weave at the moment. The concept of faster recharge over raw shield power. But of course you could put a standard shield generator in there if you prefer. We've got a 3D collector limpet controller. This is to represent Slave 1's tractor beam. And to finish it up, we've got a 3E economy class passenger cabin and 2E economy class passenger cabins. This is to represent Slave 1's ability to basically carry bounties. Now I don't know how useful those passenger cabins are going to be in a gameplay sense, but I thought it was a nice roleplay addition to throw them in there. You can of course replace them with whatever you want. Looking at the utility mounts now, and you've probably already guessed what I put in here, we've got a D-rated frameshift wake scanner and a D-rated kill warrant scanner because bounty hunting. Now as far as I can tell, all the utility mounts weigh the same, so the D-rated frameshift wake scanner and kill warrant scanner aren't strictly necessary. With the power that we have available in this build, you could bump both of those components up to their C-rated variants, but no higher because then we run out of power. Now onto the fun part, the hard points. Now this could be considered slightly controversial, but bear with me for a moment. So I believe the rapid fire lasers is what we're seeing in that battle in episode 2 above Geonosis. So I've actually gone with 2 gimbaled multi-cannons in the medium hardpoints to represent that hot laser Daka. Now I've gone with multi-cannons purely for look. I really do think the multi-cannons better represent the Star Wars rapid-fire lasers than really anything else in Elite Dangerous. Now this is where it gets just a little bit awkward, because I actually wasn't able to find any footage or really even a clear still image of the twin blaster cannons being fired. So you could say that the 2 gimbaled multi-cannons are the twin blasters, but I don't know if they're really that rapid fire. They might not be. It looks like the lasers are green, but that's really all I was able to find out. Do let me know if you have a better understanding of exactly what type of weapon the twin blaster cannons are. I'm kind of getting a sense that the twin blasters might be better represented by a couple of burst lasers in Elite Dangerous. And in that case, I would advocate putting 2 gimbaled burst lasers in those medium hardpoints instead of the multi-cannons. But if we're going to continue using the multi-cannons, then I've put a small burst laser, also gimbaled, in one of the small hardpoints, of course. This also helps in a gameplay sense naturally, because you can soften up the shields of your target a little bit before unloading fiery death on them with the multi-cannons, which is nice. We've also got a 1B Seeker missile rack to represent the proton torpedoes, and of course the mine layer. Now I'm using shock mines here to represent the seismic charges, but of course you could use regular mines if you prefer. Looking at the stats now, and our shield strength is at 136.7 megajoules. We've got 48 tons of cargo space and the standard 16 tons of fuel. Our mass on empty is at 285.6 tons, and on full, it's 349.6. Our FSD range unladen is 19.20 light years, and laden is 16.56 light years. The total price of this build, undiscounted, is 5,438,760 credits. In terms of speed and maneuverability, with the standard 2 pips into engines, our unladen speed is going to be 161, while our laden speed is 156. Our boost speed unladen will be 322, and our laden boost is going to be 311. This is interesting when compared to my Millennium Falcon build from last week. While laden, Slave 1 here is actually going to catch up with the Millennium Falcon, which I kinda like, but it just loses out slightly under boost. With 4 pips into engines, however, our unladen speed is going to be 215, while our laden speed is 208. Not too far away from my Millennium Falcon build, but still not able to catch up, and I'm totally cool with that. So that's the stats out of the way. Now, how does this ship feel? Ooh, like I said, I'm not satisfied with it. Ultimately, in my heart, in my mind, Slave 1 is the Vulture. We're using, like I said, the Cobra Mark IV here just for the hard points. But I'll know deep down that to me, when I'm flying my Vulture, I'm Boba Fett. I'm fucking Boba Fett, and it's cool beans. It feels right. It feels right in places that I can't talk about at parties. So what is it about this particular build that I'm not satisfied with? It's the maneuverability, you know? The Cobra Mark IV is kind of the space cow version of the Cobra Mark III. Yeah, it's got a lot of space, and it's got a lot of hard points, which is cool, but it's kind of slow and sluggish, and it does the job. You know, it does. It's not like the worst bounty hunting ship, but it's kind of, it doesn't feel right. It feels vulnerable, and I don't like that. I'd like to be a lot faster and a lot more maneuverable, and that's why I would prefer the Vulture over the Cobra Mark IV. Alright guys, so what do you think? Is the Cobra Mark IV an accurate representation of Slave 1 in the Elite Dangerous universe? Or would you go for something like the Vulture and make the sacrifice on hard points? I suppose it really depends where you're coming from when building these ships and how deep into the roleplay you want to go, whether you're focusing more on the hard points or just the general feel of the ship. I know some of you disagreed with me building the Millennium Falcon out of the keelback, and you know, if I was going for just straight feel, I probably would go for the Asp Explorer. I guess I went full roleplay on that one and just really wanted to use the light freighter. And I know that I've kind of switched my methodology here in that I've gone for something that I think is not optimal just for the sake of being more accurate to the hardpoints. Anyway, it's all just wanky pontification, isn't it? But that's what I love. That's what I love about spaceships and whatnot, and building this stuff in Elite Dangerous. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to gently caress that like button. It needs love, like everything does. Taste the game, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.